Good morning. I hope all is well and that you're excited for the day. In our lives, there's certain moments where your life changes, hopefully for the better. There are these. It's like there are like crossroads when things change. For me, a huge moment for me was when I was working in recruitment, and I was helping these two young entrepreneurs who were just starting their company, and they brought me in as a consultant to help them out with their employer branding and how to really structure their business. So I was working very closely with them, and I got to know them very, very well. It turned out that both of these young men had left very successful careers at one of the major banks here in Sweden, and I just didn't understand. So I asked them one day after lunch. I asked, like, why would you leave a job like that at a major bank to go and start your own business? I mean, that sounds crazy to me. I've learned growing up, get a good education, get a good, nice, stable job. And I mean, a stable job at a major bank, that's got to be top security, right? And they were on, the management scale, and they could have even been CEO one day of this major bank. So I couldn't get it. And I asked them, and they kind of looked at each other and they smiled a little bit. And they just said, "Have you read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?" I said, "No, I haven't." So, well, read that book and then come back to me and come back to us. And if you still have that question, ask it then. So, all right, fair enough, fair enough. All right, so I'll read the book. And so I ordered Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when it came, I started reading, and I couldn't put it down. For me, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was just such an eye-opener. It was like, I don't know. Have you ever had that feeling when there's just this moment when you have this aha moment and it just blows up? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've had a moment like that, please share in the comments, because it's such an amazing experience. For me, it was the first big one of these I had. Well, I've had many in my life, obviously, but a really big one was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when I read that book, the reason for it is he taught me the principle of passive income. Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, in that book, they teach the principle of passive income, really about the ability to create an income that is not based on us going to work, right? Which means if you can have a passive income that covers all of your expenses, you don't have to work. You're financially free. You can work if you choose to, which means you just double your salary, right? Or you choose not to and you just chill. And for me, that was like, that was the dream, right? That was the dream. I mean, I always, I used to say with pride, I work for my vacation and I'm working for my retirement. One day I'll be free. One day I'll be able to choose not to go to work, because I didn't really have a job I enjoyed. And therefore, this passive income was so huge for me. He talked about property investing. He talked about creating assets that generate income rather than racking up liabilities with a new car or a new house and everything. And I started understanding that this was what I wanted. This was where I was going to do. So it really just put my life on a different trajectory. Obviously, it wasn't enough to teach me how to do property. I actually had to take courses and get a mentor and learn. But it's what got me interested and got me started on that route. So I'd love to hear if you've had any moment like that. Why are you doing what you do? Has there been any book in the past, moment, person that shifted your future and changed your life? I'd love to hear it. Please leave that in the comments, because it's such an incredible moment. And if there's a book, please share it, because then the rest of us here can read it, can learn, and be inspired as well. Because there's just so much, really, when you read a book, to me, that's like taking a download of like 10, 20, 30, 50 years of someone's life, and they've distilled that into the best ideas they possibly can. And that's what you're tapping into when you read a book. And I listen to a lot of books on Audible, and books will be anywhere from an hour and a half to, I'm listening to a Jim Rohn compendium right now, like the ultimate Jim Rohn, and it's over 50 hours of Jim Rohn. So you have everywhere in that spectrum, and it's like you're getting the best they have. and you're downloading that into yourself and you're growing. And so I'm always on the hunt for new, good, great books that can help me grow and help me take that next step. So I'd love it if you shared your books that have changed your lives and the moments that have changed your lives. For me, like I said, Rich Dad Poor Dad was huge. It took me from where I was and just completely shifted my life trajectory. Just like that, I went another path. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had my property portfolio today. I wouldn't have been, teaching property, because I would have never started doing property and would have never had my portfolio. So it's these small things. Someone saying, yeah, have you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad? That question changed my life. So, and I'm sure you have the same moment. So please share. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment and leave that. And just keep doing, keep learning, keep growing, and let's build our portfolios. Let's use the momentum investing principle where we grow over time, because once you get started, you become like a force of nature. And remember, the right deal can change your life forever.